nature is intertwined with art. I'll show you guys some famous examples of art that's been inspired by nature, and you can see how it evokes our emotions, and maybe even inspire some change by creating our own creations. So if you guys are all ready, I'd like to kick off. And I'd like you guys to put on your listening ears and close your eyes as we listen to some sounds here. So as you listen, I want you to think about what kind of ideas might spark in your mind as you listen to these sounds. They could be creatures, they could be emotions, scenarios, anything. What they might have been thinking about while they listen? Sure.
I was thinking like a music background as explorers are going through a jungle. I know it sounds a little weird, but
no, that's perfect. Anybody else have any thoughts?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like a rippling creek, like water going against rocks.
I was picturing like a critter crawling and stopping and looking around by a log.
Something like that?
Like maybe a squirrel.
Nice. So the song that I played for you today is called Tadpole's Lullaby by Galen Tipton. And instead of being kind of like the music that we often hear on the radio, this is something called a songscape. So songscapes are a collection of sounds that help you conjure emotions or feelings, almost create a landscape inside your head just by certain sounds combined together. So with knowing the title and thinking at maybe what kind of scape you might think of, I'm going to play it again. I want you to hear if you can hear tadpoles fluttering around in a pond, or crickets jumping, or water droplets falling off leaves. I don't know about you, but I heard a couple tadpoles yawning. So that was a bit of an abstract version of art that can be inspired by nature. But nature-inspired art can come in many different forms, and it's been around for tens of thousands of years. So I've set out a couple famous depictions of art that's been inspired by nature, and I want you to take a moment to just move around looking and inspect these pieces while you think about what you might see, what you might feel, and like what aspects of nature you might think have influenced owns these creations. So if you'd like to stand up and take a look around. All right, so to start off, did anyone have any ideas or thoughts that came to mind while they were looking at this piece of art? It's very old. About 30,000 years or so.
Wow.
Mhm.
Cave shrines.
This is from the Chauvet Caves in southern France. It's very old, 30,000 years approximately, called the Panel of Four Horses. As you can see, are four horses right here in different possible states of emotions or ages, speculated. But this piece of art is really important because it kind of tells us like a story in a way. You might notice that there's a couple other animals on there. Does anyone recognize anything other than the horses?
A bison.
Rhino.
Mm-hmm. That's correct. So there's rhinoceros and something called an auroch on there, which is an early ancestor of cattle. But as we know, cattle are in southern France today, but rhinos are not, right? So this is a woolly rhino. It tells us that almost like a capture of time in the form of art. What was there when these people were alive in creating this piece? Alright. Thoughts on this one? Excuse me, this one.
It's like a bird. Chilling bird.
Yeah, it's like covered in huge
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this piece of art is known as the condor, but it also has other names like the eagle or hawk, because we're not exactly sure what kind of bird it might be, other than it's probably a bird of prey. This was made by the Nazca people about 500 BC to 500 AD in northern Peru. And as you said before, if you look at it closely, this isn't a small piece of art. This scapes over miles of land. You might wonder, how the heck did they do that? Well, scientists are speculating today that they might have been using ropes and sticks to actually get these straight lines and almost connect them that way, scaled up from a smaller version of the drawing. There are a bunch of different forms of these Nazca lines, such as ants and a man throwing a spear. All right.
Jellyfish.
Yes,
Yeah.
jellyfish.
It's a color of its own pollen.
So this is by Ernest Haeckel, who was actually an early founder of ecology as we know it. This is a part of many illustrations he did called Art Forms in Nature. They're called biological or scientific illustrations, and they help us better understand the animal, not just from its beauty, but from a scientific point of view as well. All right, I'm wondering, has anybody seen this one in person before?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Chicago Art Museum, is that correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
This is called A Sunday Afternoon on the Island of Le Grand Jatte by Georges Seurat. And if you've seen it up close, you might not be able to tell from this photo, but it's actually made from millions and millions and millions of little dots. But more importantly, this artwork, you might not be able to tell by the way that we kind of dress today, But back then, we dressed differently, and in this artwork, some of these people are actually from different social classes. It shows them all enjoying one singular thing together in peace. Nature. It shows how nature can kind of bring us together from all different points of life. Ideas with this one.
Very expensive.
Definitely very expensive.
Is it like a Tiffany or
Yeah, this is Tiffany glass. This one is called the 18 light lily lamp. I'm not sure how expensive it is. I know it went for auction, probably more than any money I'll ever make in my lifetime. But it shows us, at the time, this is an Art Nouveau piece, that nature back into their homes. It was something that they admired and liked to look at. And having that little extra piece of, I don't even have to walk outside to see these beautiful lilies. It's very interesting, isn't it? You know what media they use to make these like vibrant colors?
Thermal something?
It looks thermal, right? Like a heat gradient almost. To make that color, the artist Annie Goldsworth actually just collected a bunch of leaves from the ground nearby, sorted them by color, and made this beautiful gradient around the trunk of this tree.
So that's in nature. That's
Nature
not-
already made that color for the artist. Didn't have to change anything other than the layout. This title, this is part of many different pieces in a series called Leaf on Leaf, Stone on Stone. And if you'd like to see more, I think Suez has some features over there that might have been created by Annie. Can you identify maybe what this might be a print of? I bet you guys can do it.
Bee. Oh no, a tree.
Yeah.
Looks like something, yeah.
Is it an oak tree?
I'm not sure exactly what kind of tree, but you would be correct if you said a tree cookie or the inside layer of a tree. This is just simply titled Woodcut by Brian Nash Gill. He has a series of these as well, but it shows the complexity that even just something as simple as a tree can hold within it. That nature doesn't have to be changed or modified to be beautiful. Lastly, I saw a lot of you guys kind of looking into this one. What were your thoughts when you saw this?
They did a wonderful job of integrating all of these different components of the kind of Midwest forest. So you can look at that and identify 13, 14 different species of plant, and so many different birds.
Daneberry.
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah. So this is the oops, sorry.
Oh, I just loved
No,
how
go
it was,
ahead.
I think it's beadwork.
Yeah, so it was actually inspired by the beadwork of the Métis people. This is a piece called The Wisdom of the Universe by Christy Belcourt. And it actually shows over 200 endangered species, or threatened species as well, on it, if you look closely. Of course, this is kind of a small piece, but in real life it's quite large. But it is depicting the interconnectedness that we all have between nature. And this is shown especially, if you can see, by these blue vining pieces that all connect into this circle back to the roots. So the special thing about art is anyone can make art. We're all artists. So with what we've learned in mind, I think we should try making something for ourselves. Now, unfortunately, with the weather, we're not exactly having the right conditions to go outside like I would have planned. But thankfully, Griffin has helped us bring nature inside today. We have all these spectacular pieces for you guys to observe. I've got a couple different types of art things that you can do. First one, now these don't have to be done in any particular order. If you want to just do one, you can. If you want to do all three, you're welcome to. One thing you can do today is something called a leaf rubbing. But this is just done by taking a piece of paper, putting it over whatever thing that you'd like to get the texture of. Usually flat things are going to have more details when you do a rubbing of them, but you'll take a crayon with the broad side down and rub over it, and you'll get this lovely imprint. And if you're not exactly sure how to do it, I also have a step-by-step guide right here. Another thing if you'd like to do is some nature poetry. I have an example here if you'd like to read it. But I also have a way to make either a haiku, which is a poem using 5 syllables, 7 syllables, and 5 syllables again, or an acrostic poem, which is with a certain word or phrase that will spell out each letter would be the start of the sentence. Go back here. And lastly, I don't have an example for you because I want you guys to brainstorm while you do this, but I have some sketch prompts. If you want to just sketch something that you see, you want a bird's eye view, looking from above, maybe getting that different perspective, a worm's eye view where you're down low, looking up, it looks huge. Macro, I explained, is just something you look up really close. Landscape, if you want to look through the windows, kind of draw maybe a thumbprint at the window, what you see out there. Or if you have a favorite tree that you can think of, also draw that. But you're welcome to draw whatever you'd like. I will get you guys your supplies back here. You're also welcome to grab a clipboard if you'd like to look at the ambassador animals and draw. Those are over here, and if you want to take home your creation, we have a little blot of ink and a stamp. Stamp that, Schmeekly 2026. Cool little memento. Yeah, if you want to get started, go right ahead. So while you're creating your pieces, I'd like you to kind of think about maybe if you have a story behind your piece, or what made you interested in what you were drawing or looking at, or what emotion you felt while you're making your piece. Lay it aside. And once you've completed a piece at all, if you want to put it either by the section that talks about your piece, or if you want to keep it on you until later, that would be awesome. display your art on the table because we'll be having a mini art show. One more minute here, and then we will start talking outside.
There's a
Right there.
Alright. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time is up.
Alright, if you guys want to get out of your seats and come join me in the middle, we're gonna look at what everyone drew today. How we're gonna do this, I'll do an example, is you can either show your piece up or point to it or however you like, but I'd like you to tell me your thought process while you were making what you were making. Maybe what you were thinking was interesting, maybe texture-wise, what stuck out to you, how you felt drawing it, what you were reminded of, memories, anything. And then those who are looking at the art, we're gonna say, hey, I think this is really cool about that, or whatever comment you'd like. Please keep it positive. And then at the end, we'll give a nice big clap to the artist, and then we'll move to our next piece. Alright, so let's start with this one here.
Okay.
Huddle around.
Alright. So this is the overcup acorn, which I didn't know was a real, like, I didn't know what it was. So I just was intrigued by the texture mostly. So I actually like stabbed the paper with it and did some like coloring over it, kind of like the leaf drawings, by like pushing it up against there and coloring over it with a crayon. So it was just kind of a fun like technique to try. Yeah, so that's it. If you want, you can touch it. It feels kind of cool.
Multi
Yeah.
sense.
I like
Nice.
to use the touch aspect of it. Sweet. Thanks, guys.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, I have, this is kind of a multimedia piece. So there's this vertebra and 2 oak leaves. And then I did kind of a stanza of a poem. I don't have it memorized because I just wrote it. But it says, though man in haste makes much to his waste, the earth leaves nothing to spare. Once by in the fall or by beast in the bog, all is reused by her care. So it's all about how nothing, like, with like natural things, like nothing is wasted and everything kind of has a different purpose throughout its lifespan. And it made me think of, my partner has this bolo tie that someone made from like a gator spine, and that's what kind of drew me to that. So I was like, I like that piece of art, so I'll do that. Yeah.
Cool.
I love the background.
I just wanted to fill up some space. I guess it could be like earth.
Yeah, there you go. It is. I love the vertebrae. Just out there. It's super cool.
Any other comments?
Very well done.
Alright, 1, 2, 3.
Well, I do this. So right around here you see like a little, I tried mimicking or drawing the horn right there. Then I realized it doesn't look that great. So I decided to put the leaves under and kind of blend it in, showing that at times, like something if you want to cover it, make something good out of it. So, and sometimes in life that just happens and you just have to get used to it, but doesn't mean it defines who you are. So,
Kind of reminds me of like cave paintings.
Yeah.
I was starting to go through.
layering.
I was starting to go through that when I first did it. I was like, put one leaf here, one there. I'm like, hold on. Blend it in.
I like the meaning behind it.
Wonderful. Alright, 1, 2, 3.
I drew a snapping turtle.
Oh, nice.
That's beautiful.
I just like snapping turtles. Very short meaning.
Who doesn't?
You gotta smile, but that's because they never have a smile. They never really have a smile. It's just their face, even when they're angry. But I saw the shell out in the like education part. I was like, God, I really like snapping turtles. So there he is, going down his mudslide to go into his home.
Really well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, very.
Common snapping turtle?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly how all the scoots look, so it just kind of like thrown off there, and then like try to get the little chubby bits of the arm,
Yeah.
and goofy like flat bodies because it can't walk right.
Well, it looks really realistic. I feel like you'd be able to ID that.
Thank you. That's my little guy.
Put it in the UWSP logs.
Heck yeah.
Well done. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, here's some stuff.
Oh, wow.
Well, you kind of had a similar idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of interesting that everything we have over there is dead because you can't bring live things in and have it go very well. And yeah,
Technically, the rocks aren't dead.
that's true. They never left me. Actually, one of those might be. They might think there's some limestone over there. But yeah, even after things die in nature, there's still use for them, whether that's us using it for purposes like this, or nature going out and breaking down leaves, eating all the different bones and everything, making homes for snapping turtles, all that stuff.
Wonderful job. Resounding clap. 3, 2, 1. Woo!
Nice.
So as you take your seats, you might be wondering to yourself, well, what is as much fun as it is to draw these things? I think one especially important point to making art that's inspired by nature is inspiring others and inspiring change. So as you go on your way today, I'd like you to think about what you can do to help change other people's point of view for the better, or possibly change things in our environment in the long run. But we've had a full day today. We've gotten to see so many fun, famous pieces of art and learn about the history of them. We've even gotten to make our own cool art today that I hope you guys all take home. But as all good things come to an end, so does this program. But that doesn't mean our creativity has to stop. So go on, my artists, and inspire others, even if it's just by the tip.